This video is sponsored by Squarespace. What's up? This is John from John Branch for Photography, and recently I switched from a dual monitor setup to an ultra-wide setup. And I can tell you hands down, I absolutely love using an ultra-wide. But one thing it made me think about is what are the differences between using a dual monitor setup and an ultra-wide setup. I know for me, when I was first looking into ultra-wides, I was kind of worried that it was gonna mess up my whole workflow since I was so used to using dual monitors. But I can tell you it didn't, and I wanna focus today on what the differences are between using an ultra-wide setup or a dual monitor setup. So as a photographer and content creator, I've been using BenQ monitors pretty much ever since I started doing photography. I absolutely love BenQ monitors, and definitely make sure to check out the link below to check out all the monitors they have. They have monitors for designers, photographers, and even gamers. Originally, I was using the BenQ PD3200Q. It's a 32-inch, 16:9, 1440p monitor. And just as any BenQ monitor, it is known for its color accuracy. I've edited the majority of my photos on that, and you can see the great results I have here. And recently, I just switched to the PD3420Q. This monitor is in the same PD line as the 3200Q, but it is an ultra-wide monitor. So 34 inches, 21:9, 1440p. And again, the color accuracy is on point. You definitely want to make sure to check out this monitor, and if you haven't seen my review on it, make sure to check it out right up above and the link below where you can grab one for yourself. But let's go ahead and talk about the differences between the two setups, starting out with a dual monitor setup. The advantage to a dual monitor setup, hands down, is your screen real estate. With dual monitors, you're getting more screen real estate even than an ultra-wide monitor, depending on how large your monitors are. For me, using two 32-inch monitors, that's actually much longer of a space than my 21:9 ultra-wide. These monitors were absolutely massive, and honestly, it was almost too much space, but I did love it. Also, with all that space, having dual monitor gives you more space for workflows. What I mean by this is I'm able to separate different things that I'm currently working on. So if I want to edit photos on one monitor and then watch YouTube on the other, I'm able to do that and keep things fully separated. This was always great for streaming or anything of that sort as well, because I could have all my stream information on one monitor and then what I'm streaming on the other as well. On top of your workflows, you're also able to switch one of the monitors to vertical or not if you want to. I know for coders, this is actually pretty huge, and honestly, if you work on portrait photography most of the time, this would be useful as well. Being able to take one of the monitors and put it in a vertical aspect and have the other in a horizontal opens up a whole new workflow. And obviously, this is something you can't get with an ultra-wide monitor. Now, there are a few disadvantages to using dual monitors as well, so let's go ahead and talk about those. The biggest one for a photographer and content creator is matching the colors on your monitors. Color matching has to be hands down the hardest thing to do on dual monitors, because no two monitors are ever calibrated exactly the same. Now, you can use things like the Spider X, which I show how to use that right up above, but they're just two monitors, they're not totally the same, and you can never be 100% sure that both your monitors are matching. This to me is one of the biggest issues with dual monitors, and one of the main reasons I was looking into an ultra-wide monitor. Also, with dual monitors, it takes up a lot of space. For me personally, using two 32-inch monitors, these things were huge. They blocked my whole window, took up my whole desk. They were just huge. Also, because they were so big and heavy, I wasn't able to put them on a monitor arm and save myself desk space. So that's something to keep in mind if you're going to go the dual monitor route. Make sure you have a desk that can support all of that. Also, with dual monitors, there's just more cables. With the PD line of monitors, most of them can be used as USB hubs because they have a USB uplink. This is super awesome because you don't always have to plug everything right into your computer. You can put it into the monitor itself. But this also means more cables. You have the power cable for each monitor, the USB uplink for each monitor, whatever you plug into each of the monitors. It's just so much. And last but not least, one of the biggest disadvantages of using dual monitors is the bezel in between the screens. Now, being able to line up your monitors the right way was always the hardest thing for me. You could go straight, but what would happen is you wouldn't be able to actually see everything because the edges of the monitors would start getting dark because they're outside of the viewing range. So then naturally you'll have to angle them in, but then the angle might not be the same. They might not be the same height. There's just all kinds of things to get them lined up perfectly. It's just such an ordeal, and I cannot stand it. Also, when it comes to the bezel in the middle of the screen, if you want to play any games, you're stuck to using just one monitor. I've tried before using both monitors, but with most games, since the center of the screen is the main part you need, you can't really do that. And obviously, as a photographer, this isn't my main concern, but it is nice to be able to have a nice wide area to play some games when I have some time off. Moving right along to ultrawides, let's talk about the advantages to using an ultrawide setup. Obviously, having one nice large screen for all of your content is super awesome. And especially if you're doing anything with linear editing, hands down ultrawide all the way. So if you're making music or audio editing, or if you're a video editor, ultrawide is for you. Having all that extra space on the screen is just hands down game changing. Really, like, I don't know what I was doing before editing videos on a 16:9 screen. On top of the one monitor, this means you don't have to deal with color matching anymore. All your photos are in one place now, so if you need to compare anything, you know across the board the monitor is the same color calibrated. Again, like I said before, this is a big deal, and I absolutely love this about using an ultrawide monitor. As far as the setup, it's much cleaner. Obviously, we have one monitor now, so we only have the power cable and the USB uplink for the one monitor. Also, because we only have one monitor, generally ultrawides tend to be a little bit lighter than your normal 16:9 monitors on the larger end. Because of this, you can put it on a monitor arm and also save yourself some desk space. And just to talk about some things that we just talked about, obviously there's no bezel in the center of the screen. This is nice if you want to compare photos or, like I was saying before, play a game that can handle a 21:9 aspect ratio. Also, watching movies or anything of that sort, it just becomes so much more immersive on a 21:9 ultrawide. And honestly, in my couple of weeks of using an ultrawide, I honestly, hands down, love it. Really, like, I was worried about going from dual monitor to ultrawide, and it has been great. As far as workflows, they actually haven't been disrupted too much on an ultrawide. I can still do things like stream and have a section of my monitor shown on the stream and another section of it just for all my stream elements. I was really worried that I wasn't able to do this, but I'm still able to do it, which is super awesome. Now, if you have a super complicated setup, dual monitors still may be for you when it comes to streaming and things of the sort, but ultrawide worked just fine for me while I was live streaming. Now, as far as the disadvantages for an ultrawide monitor, in my opinion, they're actually very, very slim. And maybe I'm just biased, but again, I've been using dual monitors longer than I have an ultrawide, and really, I love ultrawide monitors. The first disadvantage is actually that most of the monitors on the market have a curved screen. Now, the PD3420Q does not, because it's specifically made for designers to make sure that none of your lines are warped while you're editing your photos or videos. And this is absolutely huge. Again, this is the only monitor I've seen so far on the market that has a flat panel. But for some reason, all the ultrawide monitors on the market currently are all curved. And I get they want to make sure you can see it and like it doesn't dim on the edges. But I feel like that's going to distort my photos, and that was one of the biggest concerns for me. So I'll put that under a disadvantage since most ultrawides have that issue. But again, this specific BenQ monitor that I'm using has a flat panel and looks absolutely amazing. Also, for disadvantages comparative to dual monitors is you have a little bit less screen real estate. Now, obviously this is arguable. It depends on the dual monitors you had before and their size. So if you have a smaller ultrawide versus larger dual monitors, obviously you have more space on the dual monitors. But for the most part, when we're talking the same screen size, you're losing a little bit of space that you had if you were using dual 16:9 monitors. But honestly, it's really not that big of a deal, so this is like the smallest disadvantage. Also, if you're looking to have a vertical monitor and also a horizontal monitor, obviously you can't do that with an ultrawide. And even ultrawides are so huge, putting one vertical, I don't know. I mean, you could do it, but that just seems crazy to me to have this super long monitor on the side. So really, ultrawides, you're not able to do that. So workflows that use vertical monitors, you're gonna wanna go with a dual monitor setup. And honestly, I feel like those are all the disadvantages. There's really not that many. I'm kind of biased, but again, I just switched to ultrawide myself. No matter what type of monitor setup you're using, your photos will always look great with this video sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is an online platform to help you build your portfolio and website quickly and easily. As a wedding photographer, having a website is the most important part of running my business, and Squarespace helps me build and manage my website easily and smoothly with no headaches at all. Simply sign up for Squarespace, choose a template, and plop your photos into it, and you'll have a great website in no time. And on top of how easy it is to build your own website, you have analytics to see who's viewing your site and where from, which is gold to a photographer knowing where your clients are coming from. You can also collect their information through a contact form and even sell photos online on your website with Squarespace Commerce. Make sure to check out the link in the description below for 10% off of your first website or domain. So those are some of the differences between an ultra-wide monitor and dual monitor setups. Like I said before, I always used to use dual monitor and recently switched to ultra-wide, and I absolutely love the work process. I think if you're looking for a setup that's clean and gives you a good amount of space and you're able to keep everything color matched, ultra-wide is gonna be for you. Also, if you game on the side like I do, it just is hands down. Go ahead and get yourself an ultra-wide. Again, I'm a huge fan of BenQ monitors, and the PD3420Q is my new monitor that I'm currently using. And again, check the description to check out the monitor. It is absolutely amazing. Let me know what kind of monitor setup you prefer in the comments below. Dual monitor or ultra-wide? I'm kind of curious to see where everyone sits with this. And again, don't forget to hit that like if you like this information, and thank you for subscribing to the channel and hanging out for more tech and photography information. And I will catch you all next time. All right, peace.